Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. There's a difference between a woman who talks love and a woman who feels love. You see, some of y'all think the only way to make a man understand how much you miss him is to say it. I miss you, baby. But I'm going to tell you the truth. Words are cheap if they ain't backed up by emotion. Sometimes you don't got to say, I miss you. Sometimes you got to let them feel it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When we talk about the power of feminine energy and subtle communication, we're talking about something that can't be faked. A woman's energy is not just about what she says, it's about what she radiates. You ever walk into a room and feel a vibe before anybody opens their mouth? That's energy. That's presence. And a real woman, she knows how to communicate without saying a word. That's what makes her unforgettable, because men, listen to me, men don't fall in love with words. They fall in love with the way you make them feel. You could tell a man 100 times, I love you, but if your energy don't match that, it won't move him. But if you just look at him with that soft, knowing look, if your voice has that little tremble of emotion, if you move like a woman who's in her own peace, he's gone. He's lost in it. See, ladies, men respond to subtlety more than statements. You don't need to be loud with your emotions. You need to be real. Subtle communication is the art of letting your energy speak for you. When you understand that, you stop over-explaining. You stop trying to prove how you feel. You just be. And that's what drives a man crazy, because he feels that authenticity. It's not forced, it's not performed, it's natural. You could be sitting across the table from him, not saying much, but your energy is saying everything. I see you. I feel you. I'm connected to you. That's power. Because what's unspoken is always louder than what's said. Now, some women don't realize this. They think they gotta keep telling a man how much they care, keep proving they miss him, keep sending long messages hoping he'll feel something. But the truth is, when you lean too hard into words, you lose your mystery. And mystery, that's your secret weapon. Feminine energy isn't about being loud. It's about being felt. You ever notice how a woman's soft tone can calm a man down? How her gentle laugh can shift his whole mood? That's not an accident. That's power. That's communication on a deeper level. When a woman taps into her feminine energy, she becomes magnetic. She ain't chasing nobody. She's drawing them in with her presence. And the reason it works is simple. Men are wired to respond to feeling. A man might not always understand your words, but he can't ignore your vibe. You don't need to tell him you miss him. He'll sense it in your pause, your silence, your breath. And the moment he feels it, he's hooked. That's when he starts thinking about you when you're not around. That's when your presence lingers in his mind and your energy stays with him long after you've gone. So, ladies, remember this. Your feminine energy is your loudest voice. You don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to explain your worth. You just have to own your presence, move with grace, and let your energy do the talking. Because when you master that, you'll never have to say, I miss you. Again, he'll already know. When you understand that emotions go deeper than words, you start to realize that real connection isn't about what you say, it's about what you make someone feel. A man might hear you say, I miss you, but what stays with him isn't the sound of those words, it's the emotion behind them. Words are surface level, but energy, tone, and presence cut straight to the soul. When you speak to a man with emotional depth, he feels it in ways he can't explain. He might not even have the words for it, but he knows it. He feels drawn in, like something inside of him recognizes you beyond the noise. That's because emotions communicate on a frequency words can't touch. Men aren't built to read emotional language the way women are. Most of them don't process feelings through long talks or deep explanations. They respond to what they sense. That's why you can say everything right and still feel like he's not hearing you. It's not that he's ignoring you, it's that he doesn't feel your emotion through the words. But when you lower your voice, when you pause, when you breathe before you speak, your energy carries meaning. He can actually understand. You create a moment that goes straight to his instincts, not his logic. And that's what draws him closer. It's not what you said, it's how you made him feel in that moment. Emotional connection beyond words is about letting your energy wrap around the conversation. It's when your tone softens, when your eyes hold him a second longer, when you stop trying to convince and start allowing him to feel you. That's when he feels safe to let his own guard down. A man who feels emotionally understood by a woman will always find his way back to her. Not because of what she said, but because she created a space where his emotions could breathe. She didn't push him to feel something. She invited him to, and that difference changes everything. You see, when you start speaking from energy, not ego, you stop chasing connection and start creating it. Instead of explaining how much you miss him, you let the tone in your voice carry that emotion. Instead of typing out a long message, you send a few words that carry warmth and peace. When he hears your voice, he feels calm. When he thinks of you, he feels grounded. That's when you've reached him beyond words. That's the level where a man starts craving your presence even when you're silent. The truth is, emotion doesn't need explanation, it needs expression. The moment you stop using words to fill the space and start letting your energy do the work, that's when you become unforgettable. Because a man may forget what you said, but he will never forget how your energy made him feel. And when your presence carries that kind of emotion, you don't have to say, I miss you. He already feels it every time your name crosses his mind. Mystery and confidence are two things that drive a man absolutely wild. And when a woman learns to balance both, she becomes irresistible. There's something about a woman who doesn't reveal everything, who carries herself with quiet strength and calm confidence that pulls a man in without even trying. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding that real attraction comes from curiosity. When a man can't predict your every move, when he can't figure you out completely, that's when you live in his mind rent, free. He keeps wondering what's next, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. That mystery becomes magnetic because it challenges him in a way that feels exciting. Confidence, on the other hand, is the foundation of that mystery. It's not arrogance, it's self-assurance, that quiet belief that you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. When a woman walks in confidence, her energy says everything before her lips even move. It tells a man, I know who I am. I don't need your validation, but I value genuine connection. And that balance between mystery and confidence is what keeps him coming back. A man respects a woman who knows her value and doesn't hand out her energy freely. She doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't beg for attention, she commands it with grace. The mistake many women make is thinking that being open and expressive about every thought will bring them closer to a man. But men fall for what they don't fully understand. They're intrigued by the parts of you that take time to uncover. When you reveal everything too fast, there's nothing left to explore. But when you leave space, when your words are few, your energy calm, and your silence meaningful, that's when he starts to chase clarity. He starts to miss you, not because you're gone, but because your energy stays with him. Mystery isn't about being distant, it's about being selective. You choose what you share, and when you share it, because you understand your emotions have value, confidence amplifies that mystery. When a man senses that you are comfortable in your own skin, that you're not desperate for validation, it changes the entire dynamic. It makes him want to rise to meet your level. Men are drawn to confident women because confidence brings peace, not chaos. A confident woman doesn't beg, she doesn't compete, and she doesn't fear being alone. She knows that if a man values her, he'll show it. And if he doesn't, she'll walk away with her dignity intact. That's strength, and that strength is deeply attractive. When mystery and confidence meet, they create chemistry without effort. You become the type of woman who doesn't have to say, I miss you. He already feels it in the spaces you leave, in the way your silence lingers, in the way your absence makes him restless. You don't need to prove your value because he already knows losing your energy would be the biggest mistake he could make. When you overtalk emotions, you take away the magic that keeps connection alive. There's a reason silence and subtlety are so powerful in relationships, because emotions that are felt are always stronger than emotions that are explained. Sometimes people talk so much about their feelings that the words lose their weight. You keep telling someone you miss them, that you care, that you want them, until it starts sounding routine. But when you learn to hold back a little, when you let emotion breathe instead of crowding it with words, it grows stronger. A man doesn't fall in love with a woman who constantly explains her feelings. He falls for the woman whose emotions he can feel without her having to say a thing. You see, when you overtalk emotions, it starts to feel like pressure. A man begins to feel like he's being told what to feel instead of being invited to feel it. And that kills desire. It turns passion into performance. It makes the relationship heavy when it should flow naturally. But when you hold your emotions with grace, when you don't rush to fill every silence, you leave space for him to come toward you. You give him the freedom to feel instead of forcing him to respond. That's where attraction lives, in that space where emotion breathes on its own. Men are simple in this way. They connect more through energy than words. Too much talking makes them retreat. It's not because they don't care. It's because they process differently. A woman's emotional expression is beautiful, but when it turns into a constant need for reassurance, it drains the connection instead of feeding it. A woman who knows how to express emotion without drowning in it, that's the woman who holds power. She can make a man feel wanted without saying it 100 times. She can make him miss her with just one look or a soft tone that lingers in his mind. That's emotional intelligence, and it's rare. When you let silence do some of the talking, you allow mystery and desire to build naturally. Every word doesn't need to be explained. Every feeling doesn't need to be named. Sometimes the most powerful message you can send is through your energy, your timing, your presence. When you stop over talking, you start feeling more, and so does he. He'll start paying attention to the little things, your pauses, your expressions, the rhythm of your voice. That's when he becomes emotionally tuned into you without realizing it. There's beauty in restraint. There's power in calm. When you know when to speak and when to stay quiet, you hold control over your emotional world. Over-talking emotions is like overwatering a flower. Too much can drown it. The secret is balance. Let him miss your words sometimes. Let him wonder what you're feeling, because when he has to feel it, instead of hearing it, that's when desire grows. That's when he starts craving your energy, not just your voice. A woman's presence speaks louder than any words she could ever say. It's not what she tells a man that stays with him. It's the way she makes him feel when she's around. Her energy, her calm, her confidence, the way she carries herself, that's what captures attention. When a woman understands how powerful her presence is, she no longer feels the need to constantly explain herself or prove her worth. Her energy does the work for her. The way she looks at him, the way she listens, the way she moves, all of that becomes her language. And a man, even if he can't fully describe it, feels it deep down. He knows when a woman's presence fills the room, because suddenly everything shifts. Her vibe changes the air around her. That's power without effort. When a woman walks in presence, she brings peace. She doesn't have to demand attention. She commands it through stillness and confidence. Men are drawn to that kind of quiet energy because it's rare. So many people are loud, trying too hard to be noticed, trying to prove they care, trying to explain love through words. But the woman who lets her energy speak, that woman is unforgettable. Her silence doesn't feel empty, it feels full of meaning. When she looks at you, you feel seen. When she smiles, it softens you. When she leaves, her energy lingers long after she's gone. That's the kind